Yo, what's up, Broncos country? This is Eddie with Rocky Mountain Blitz. So today I wanted to talk about OTAs this week and the news that came out yesterday about Estime. So here we go. Uh, so today we heard more news about the quarterback battle that's going on in Denver between Jared Stidham, Bo Nix, and Zach Wilson. And we also had a injury update today. New player, the new running back that we just drafted this year, Estime, had a knee injury. I think he was in the facility or at the doctor's, and they had to put a scope to his knee. They said he should be ready by the start of training camp. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that. Um, Javante, I still think he's going to be RB1, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But Estime, they say, should be back by the start of training camp, and hopefully that's the case because I mean we could really use it. I mean, having two backs like P Ryan and McLaughlin that are good pass catchers out of the backfield. Then you got two bowling balls. Javante and Estime. Just running people over. It'd be nice to have both of them on the roster, honestly. And there was a lot of talk that the Broncos might carry four running backs. And if that's the case, I think the four I think we can all agree would be Estime, Javante, P. Ryan, and McLaughlin. Um, there's been a lot of talk about Benson, I believe his name is. So, but I don't think like maybe he makes a roster, maybe he takes over P Ryan's spot, maybe P Ryan gets cut before the season. Who knows? But hopefully, Estimate is ready to go by the start of the season because I would really like to see what that kid can do. And hopefully, this knee injury is not that bad because that would kind of suck for a rookie running back like him, who is a big guy who can run people over. Start off his career, not that great because of his knee. So hopefully he's better and he's ready to go 100% by the start of the season. Now, also what I wanted to talk about today, and this video is not going to be very long, but the quarterback battle that's going on at OTAs right now. So last week was the first week of OTAs. And if you watched last week or watched anything or heard anything or read anything on the OTAs and the quarterback battle, Stidham won day one last week. I think he was the first one to get first team reps with the starters last week. I think it was last Tuesday was the first day or last Monday was their first day of OTAs. Stidham got to start with the ones. And I think the next day it was Zach Wilson got to start with the ones. And then the last day when the media was actually allowed out there last week, Bo Nix got to start with the ones. So, but they said day one, Jared Stidham pretty much won the day, which anybody should know that was going to happen. He's been in the system for a year. He knows it, and Bo Nix is still, picking up the offense. He's still learning the offense, trying to get timing down with his receivers, all this and that and the other. Granted, it's practice too. And Zach Wilson looked downright terrible. But by the end of the week last week, Bo Nix really started looking better. And that's good. They said he was starting to get even with Jared Stidham. Now, this week, we have a lot more hope because start off. So I think they did it in the same order this week. I think it was Jared Stidham started off the week with the ones, and then Zach Wilson got time with the ones, and then today when the media was out there yet again, Bo Nix got to start with the ones. And the thing is about that is that Bo Nix, from everything I've heard and everything I've read, Bo Nix is right there with Jared Stidham. They're tied. The only thing today that I heard and saw is that Jared Stidham had a really nice place ball. I think it was like a 50-yard bomb down the field to Marvin Mims. He hit him in stride, and Marvin Mims walked in for a touchdown. Now, other than that, all the reports I've seen, all the people saying they were even. They're pretty much even. That 55-yard bomb, that was the one thing that, you could say gave Stidham the day. But the thing is if this is just OTAs, the second week of OTAs, and outside of just that one thing, that one pass, if Bo Nix is right there with Stidham, I can only imagine where he's going to be by training camp or preseason or even week one of the regular season. Like, there's no reason why Bo Nix is not the starter week one. Like, if he's already dead even, with Stidham at this point, the second week of OTAs, and I'm pretty sure they got next week of OTAs, and then I think they go into the NFL summer where there's not really going to be a whole lot going on. But if Bo Nix is already pretty much even with Jared Stidham, there's no reason why you can't think that by training camp and preseason that Bo Nix is going to start rising above Bo Nix. I'm sorry, Bo Nix is going to start rising above Jared Stidham. Like, I honestly think by the time like preseason over, preseason's over, by preseason game 3, I believe Bo Nix is going to be way ahead of Jared Stidham in the QB competition. So by week 1, he will be the starter. It's going to be so clear cut that Bo Nix is better that you can't start. There's no reason why you shouldn't start him week 1. Like, it's going to be ridiculous. Bo Nix is already up there with Jared Stidham. He's only been in this offense for what? A little over a month. Jared Stidham's been in this offense for over a year. So if he's already up there with him, even with him, can do the checks. He knows the playbook. He's getting the timing down with his receivers. Like I said, by August, there's no reason why Bo Nix ain't the clear-cut starter. There's no reason why. And everybody's going to see it, and everybody's going to notice it. And there's going to be no reason why they shouldn't start Bo Nix week 1. Unless, like I said, he goes into preseason or training camp or whatever, and he falls flat on his face, which that to me is like a very, very slim chance that Bo Nix falls on his face. The guy already knows what he's doing. And if you watch Sean Payton at any of the press conferences, you could tell he's more relaxed this year. He's more poised. Like, he's comfortable. Like, he's like, I got my guys in the building, mostly Bo Nix, and he's like, he's comfortable. Like, this time last year, like, I mean, I know you guys probably have heard this. Me and Muhammad said it last week. Other national media people have been saying it that, Sean Payton at this time last year was just like telling Russ to stop kissing babies, stop doing this, stop doing that. He was attacking, Nathaniel Hackett, which I'm not saying he was wrong because it was a bad head coaching job, but you could just see Payton's more, down to earth. He's more relaxed. He's more, hey, I can, talk to you and laugh and, talk to the media, laugh, have a good time. Like, Payton is relaxed. He's got his guy in the building. He knows Bo Nix is the guy. He's comfortable, and he knows, like, Sean Payton sees it every day. And if what we see and what Payton sees is us, we see the same thing that Bo Nix is even right now with Stidham. Payton believes, just like probably the rest of Broncos country, that by week 1, Bo Nix will be the starter, and he's going to be way better than Jared Stidham at that point. The more time he spends in this offense, the more time he's out there getting reps, working with the, receivers, the running backs, the tight ends, the offensive line, he's only going to get better. And Sean Payton sees that, and most of Broncos country sees that. So I'm excited. You guys should please like, comment, subscribe on this video. And man, I'm ready for the season to start. I really am. Like, this is insane. Like, for the first time since I honestly can say Drew Lock, I really have optimism. Like, when we traded for Russell Wilson a few years back, I was ecstatic by the trade, but it was like by week 1, I couldn't do it. Like, granted, Nathaniel Hackett was a problem, but it was just like you could see like being the same guy. Like, he didn't trust himself. It just didn't seem good to me. But Bo Nix, I don't know, man. I just got that gut feeling that this year is going to be better than what we anticipate. Like, and that's all due to Sean Payton. Like, I don't think any other coach would have came in last year. Granted, he had to, at least give it 1 year with Russ, and he did. But it takes a lot of cojones to, cut a player and take an $85 million cap hit. Now, over the last year, ever since this conversation came to be about, the Broncos should cut Russell Wilson, if he doesn't play well in 2023, it's been like, well, oh my God, like, they can't take this dead cap money. They can't do it. They're tied to Russell Wilson for whatever amount of years. And I'm here to say that that's not the case anymore. Dead cap, that word seems scary, but it's not. Like, if this is the NFL, it's a $1 billion business. Most of these teams are owned by billionaires. And if you don't like a player, You move on. You don't keep them around and keep your franchise in poverty or keep them losing. Yes, eating or paying somebody money not to, play for your team anymore sucks. But what sucks even worse is if keeping that player on your team and he's bad and you're paying him that kind of money. This is the NFL. If a team doesn't like a player, they're going to cut him. No matter what the dead cap is. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, well, the Browns they clearly can't cut Deshaun Watson." They couldn't do it because he's guaranteed all that money. That doesn't matter. If the Browns truly want to move on from Deshaun, they'll do it. Like they won't have a problem, and they'll go out and draft their next quarterback. So, but Bo Nix, we should be really excited about. Um, like I said, I don't think at first I thought this season was going to be a loss because we're going to be taking all this dead cap money. But over the last couple of months, for me personally, I don't think the dead cap's that big of a deal. It's not for any team. These are $1 billion teams, $1 billion industry. You don't like a player, you move on from them, no matter what the dead cap is, and you go out and you rebuild. Like, yeah, you could possibly be bad the next year after taking that dead cap hit. That's possible. The Broncos could still be bad this year, but I just don't know. Like, I figured Sean, after the Russell Wilson thing and even after drafting Bo Nix, I thought he'd be like, yeah, not come out and say like, hey, this is going to be a year where we, just kind of look and, evaluate talent and everything. I wouldn't expect him to say anything less than we're going to compete, but just seeing the attitude and just the, way the team is, like just the spirits there seem really high this year. It's like most of the players and the coaches know, like, hey, we got our guy and we could compete. Like, no one, like, granted, the Texans didn't have a big dead cap hit last year like we do this year. But who thought in their right mind the Texans were going to do what they did last year? Anything is possible in the NFL. That's what I've come to realize. Like, I'm never going to say never for any team. Even like right now, I saw a report today that said that the Broncos have the worst roster in the NFL. That doesn't mean nothing in the offseason to me. It doesn't. Just because national media people say, oh, Broncos have the worst roster in the league or they have the worst quarterback room in the league, that doesn't mean nothing. Anything is possible. Yes, I do believe you do need a quarterback to be successful. But, you could still but what's a successful season for the Broncos? A winning season? Making the playoffs? Like anything like that. So I think the Broncos, like I gave my predictions a few weeks ago. I think the Broncos are going to go 10-7 this year. Maybe they make it into the playoffs. I just don't know, man. This team to me seems the spirit of this team and the attitude of this team seem a lot different than they did last year. Like last year, yeah, I was like, I think the Broncos are going to make the playoffs. They should make the playoffs because if they don't, it's an epic failure. You're paying Russ all this money. You got him. You trade all these picks. You traded picks and paying all this money to Sean Payton. Those two together, making the playoffs was an abject disaster. And I believe it was. Yes, our record was better in 2023 than it was in 2022. We won 3 extra games. But with Russell Wilson, and Sean Payton together, with all the money and all the draft picks we gave up, we should at least, had a winning record at the very minimum. And it just seemed like an abject failure to me last year. This year, I don't know, the whole spirit of the locker room, the team, even the fan base seems different. Like it seems like this is like not a whole lot of people are saying it, but you could just sense the feeling in the building that and within Broncos country that this year could be something special. Like I think the Broncos are probably going to surprise a lot of people this year, including myself. Like I'm saying 10 wins, maybe possibly make the playoffs. I still think with all the teams in the AFC, I mean, I think even with 10 wins, it's still hard to get into the playoffs with all the good teams in the AFC. But what I'm trying to get at is it wouldn't shock me. And I know this is going to be a wild take, and a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy for saying this with a rookie quarterback, the dead cap money with Russell Wilson, not knowing what the complete roster is yet. It would not surprise me if the Broncos win in this division this year. Because I know it's been said over the years that the Chiefs were going to take a step back after losing Tyreek. they were going to take a step back after winning the Super Bowl without Tyreek the first year. But I truly like it's got to be coming. Like it happens at all the great teams. Like they eventually take a step back. And I think this year the Chiefs will take a step back. Now, does that mean the Broncos 100% win the division? No. Like another team in this division, I think is sneaky going to be good this year is the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. Granted, yes, they don't have a whole lot of great receivers, but I'm not counting Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert out. I'm not counting out Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, but eventually they're going to take a step back. It's inevitable. And somebody's going to win this division that no one's like, if the Chiefs don't win this division, like, regardless if it's the Broncos that win it, the Chargers that win it, or even should I say the Raiders, which that's a long shot, but once again, anything's possible. Like, it's possible that any one of these teams could win the division. Now, who that team is, I think is going to shock a lot of people. Like, if the Chiefs don't win this division, that in itself is going to shock a lot of people. If the Chiefs don't win this division. Because everybody's assuming that Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, those three together doesn't matter if they don't have great receivers. They're going to win this division. Well, like I said, it's inevitable that team's going to take a step back, just like the Patriots did. They won 3 Super Bowls in the 2000s. They took a step back. They weren't that good. They still made the playoffs, but they weren't winning Super Bowls, for like almost a 10-year stretch. So the Chiefs, it's inevitable they're going to take a step back. And, whenever that happens, people are going to be shocked. And what's going to be even more shocking, like, honestly, if I had to pick, if the Chiefs don't win this division, I hate to say it, I think, especially with a rookie quarterback, and all this stuff, I would expect the Chargers maybe to take the division. But if the Broncos take this division, or even, God forbid, the Raiders took this division this year, there's going to be a lot of shocked people, like a lot. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars were pretty much a lock last year to win the AFC South. And because I remember watching the predictions last year, they were talking about the Jags were going to take the AFC South. I think the Colts were going to come in second. They said the Titans in third, and the Texans were going to be in fourth because it was a rebuilding year. New rookie head coach, new rookie quarterback, and the guy was a defensive head coach in Houston. Like, it's going to take them a few years to get this roster built up and, compete for the division and possibly make the playoffs. Nope. First year. Granted, it did come down towards the end of the season for the Texans to win that division and a choke by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not comparing the Jaguars to the Chiefs, but just because somebody has something in a lock doesn't mean it's true. Like, the Chiefs could falter this year and the Broncos could take the division. The Chiefs could falter, the Chargers could take the division. The Chiefs could falter and the Raiders take the division. Like, I think this division's opening up this year. Like, honestly, I've said the Broncos could have won the division in the past, but I always picked the Chiefs to win the division in the past, at least the last couple of years, because they're that team. Like, I hate to say it. I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate Andy Reid. I hate the Chiefs, but they were those guys. And until someone dethroned them, it wasn't going to happen. I picked them to win the division every year for at least the last 3 years. So with that said, this year, I truly believe somebody else in this division is going to take it. Whether that's the Broncos, the Chargers, or the Raiders, I don't know. But I don't think the Chiefs are taking the division this year. So to me, that means this division's wide open. And with the Broncos, just the mentality this year, the attitude, the way they're looking, their spirits, like, I'm not trying to be biased at all, but you could just feel the energy is different. And this year, it's different. Even whenever we finally got rid of Vic Fangio and we hired an offensive-minded head coach in Nathaniel Hackett, everybody was geeked about that. But I don't think they were as geeked about that as they are with Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Like, a lot of Broncos fans, I remember talking to some. I was happy about the trade. Most of Broncos country was. But they're just like, everybody said before don't give Russ another contract extension. Whenever they did, it's like, why'd you do that? You haven't even seen him play a down the Broncos uniform. So that to me tells me that a lot of people were skeptical about Russ, including myself, before he even played it down. Like, yeah, you got him 2 more years. He's still got a 2-year deal. Let him play at least half the freaking season and see how he does. And then by like week 7 or 8 of 2022, you can give him a contract extension if he's playing good. But even with that, even with the Rush trade and finally hiring an offensive minded head coach at that time, I don't think Broncos country was as excited. I don't think the spirits were changed. I don't think the flow, like it didn't feel the same back then as it does now. And I don't know if that's because of Sean Payton, Bo Nix, but one of those two, if not both of them together, the energy in this fan base and this and in the Broncos camp is different. And I can feel it, and I know a lot of Broncos country can feel it. So, but with all that said, please like, comment, subscribe on this video, and I'm going to jump off here for tonight, and I will see you guys Sunday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time on with Muhammad, my co-host, on Colorado Sports Connection, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.